Good morning. I must admit, I was very surprised when Rafi asked me if I would say a few words today about why I decided to become a Fed volunteer. As after all, I'm a relatively new boy on the block, but to nevertheless describe some of my experiences so far, as I'm normally used to sitting on your side of the room, pledging support for the many worthy causes in our community. However, as many of you know, Ralph can be very persuasive, so here I am. My journey started around Hanukkah last year, when the Fed issued a call for volunteers to deliver Hanukkah goodie bags. I drove up to Heathlands, not really knowing what to expect, whereupon the back seat was filled with all sorts of goodies, kindly donated by supporters of the Fed. I was given a list of where to deliver them, and off I went. I was expecting, to be honest, to be delivering them in the leafy suburbs of Prestwich and Whitefield. Instead, I headed towards Moston, Blakely and Crumpsall. My first call was to a lady who answered the door on a mobility scooter. The next to a gentleman who slowly shuffled to the door, apologising for keeping me waiting, but said it was due to him having Parkinson's. I assessed his age to be probably no more than late 50s, early 60s. Third call was to a lovely elderly couple who insisted I come in for a cuppa and proceeded to show me approximately 157 photos of their grandchildren. The last call was to a sprightly lady of a vintage age. "What do you want?" she inquired suspiciously as she opened the door. I explained who I was and passed over the goodie bags. "Michael Goldman, eh?" she said. "Was your father Benny Goldman?" "Yes," I replied. "Oh, he was a handsome man," she said. "I didn't half fancy him when I was young." Having dropped all my bags off, I headed for home. It had been a real eye-opener for me. And the lasting memory I have is the level of gratitude and appreciation that everybody showed towards me for receiving these goodie bags. It was truly humbling. It left a deep impression on me, and that's when I decided to get properly involved. Then, unfortunately, Lockdown 3 came along. I signed up to be a proper volunteer and was given a lonely gentleman in Prestwich, in his late 80s, who recently lost his wife, to call and have a regular chat with on the phone. He is a most amazing guy. He has mastered Zoom, was learning Morse code, and organised Zoom quiz nights. He's a great guy. We meet for coffee now, speak regularly, and have become firm friends. Next task, when lockdown finished, moving slowly on to rung 2, I was asked to do shopping for a couple of families. Now my wife, who's sat in the corner there, will tell you I am an expert shopper as long as I'm either in the biscuit, chocolate or crisp aisles, but sadly lack knowledge elsewhere. These lists contained unusually strange items such as cheeses, yogurts, tin foods. The whereabouts of where they lived in Tesco was a complete mystery to me. So I decided to enlist the help of my good lady Linda, a maven in Tesco, to help me on my first shop. Amazingly, both families seemed fine with what I brought them, and now I am a dab hand in the shops. Helping the families on a regular basis has led to not just delivering the shopping, but establishing a warm rapport with them, understanding their difficulties of how difficult day-to-day life can be. And I know when I visit them, the probability is I'm the only contact they have with the outside world. And we often chat for half an hour or more. One elderly couple told me they were suffering extreme financial hardship. This information I fed back to the team at the Fed so they could be given further help. Recently, I took a gentleman out, only just a year older than myself. Unfortunately, he suffers with dementia. My brief was to take him to the fort for a bit of shopping, but he decided he would rather go for a ride in the car. So that's what we did. This man never goes out, lives in a really run-down hostel-type home with 7 other men. It was grim, to say the least. He has no family, and again, the level of his appreciation was totally out of proportion to just taking him out for a drive in the car. The volunteering I do never takes more than a couple of hours a week, and maybe some of you can find this small amount of time to help out. The need is great, and I promise you, you will find it so worthwhile. I am under no illusions that I am on a very, very low rung of a very high ladder, and now have a much greater appreciation of what a fantastic job the Fed achieves, dealing with all facets of problems and situations. Children with special needs, poverty, abuse, drugs, loneliness, the list is endless. There are many, many issues out there. I know the amount of help and time I give is minuscule compared to the big picture of what is needed. But as they say, every little bit helps, and maybe you can also. Thank you very much.